Hello, Gary Klaben here, and today I want to talk about leadership, relationship, and creativity. You know, doesn't that say it all? Isn't that what we're looking for from all those businesses out there? You know, a story first. You know, over the past 30 years, we've had 4 IT specialists who've serviced us at our firm with mixed results. A lot of frustration, a lot of downtime. You know, we're on our 9th iteration of systems, from the initial PCs and networks and cloud computing and internet and all of that kind of stuff. Well, about 5 years ago, we met a firm called Lynx Technology. Now, they came in and they had a process, and they basically said they would come in, look at our stuff, find out who we are, provide services that would be a phone call away, that they could immediately handle our issues and respond to them and get them resolved in a very timely manner, and even be on site within 60 minutes. And this was huge to us, and we thought, well, let's see what happens. And you know what? That's exactly what they delivered. And what came out of that leadership for us was we started to trust them. We believed in what they could do for us. And because of that, we took direction. And leadership is about direction. And it kind of goes into our next one about relationship. Relationship, think of it as the on-off switch for businesses. Now, some businesses will turn that on switch. Most, it's pretty much in the off. You know how it is. You're the 12 to 5 slot for a repair person coming out for your washer and dryer. You spend an hour in the doctor's office filling out forms, waiting in the examining room, and then get 5, maybe 10 minutes with the doctor. And finally, you get a $1,500 bill from your mechanic, and you wonder if all those were necessary charges. And you know, relationship is really about, do they have your best interest? And I like to think about this from a movie that I saw many years ago called Jerry Maguire. Now, it stars Tom Cruise as this agent for professional athletes that turns the on switch on. In a very cutthroat business, he ends up losing all his clients except for one, played by Cuba Gooding Jr. Now, he is a wide receiver for an NFL football team who's up for contract negotiation, i.e. Tom and Cuba's payday. So throughout the movie, Tom is trying to do everything for this man, and there's a parallel theme going on at the same time. Renee Zellweger plays an office worker that believes in Tom and goes with him in this new business venture, and there's a scene in the movie where she says the famous line, "You had me at hello." Well, anyway, at the end of the movie, Tom is watching the game, and Cuba is catching a pass in the end zone and falls to the ground, knocks himself unconscious. Tom runs over, is checking out, calling his wife, just really taking care of him. And the other professional athletes who are watching the game said, "I want some of that." And they flock over to Tom because they can see that he really cares. And so relationship is really about what? It's about providing great level of confidence. You really are confident that this organization has your best interest. And that brings us finally down to creativity. Just finished The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. Really good book about the Chicago World's Fair in 1893. Now, the famous architect Daniel Burnham was attempting to outdo the 1889 Paris World's Fair that had featured the Eiffel Tower. So they really got very creative, and there were several things that came out of this. Number one was a fellow named George Ferris, who created the first Ferris wheel at the fair, huge Ferris wheel, and of course everybody was concerned it was going to fall over and people were going to die and so forth. That never happened. And second was a guy named Saul Bloom, an entrepreneur from San Francisco, who was hired to create this Midway with all these exotic shows and everything else. Very interesting. Of course, it's with us today. There was Westinghouse and Edison. Westinghouse had alternating current and Edison had direct current. And on display was Westinghouse's alternating current and Edison's 200,000 light bulbs lighting up this 1 square mile of Jackson Park south of the Chicago area. It just, I guess, was brilliant at night. Finally, the modern workday for 8 hours, time and a half and double overtime, and then worker safety came out of the fair, and there were many other things, but just a huge amount of capability took place. The creativity that happened with that World's Fair in a very short span of time just gave us a lot more capability. And so back to Links Technology. So I've had several conversations with Brian Burke, the owner of this firm, and you know, they had that permanent switch on. They basically provide a lot of leadership that we really have trust and faith in them. And finally, they have the latest and greatest in new technological tools and systems, so we are always got what we need to be able to deliver our services to our clients, and it's just a really wonderful thing. So you know, what I really think it comes down to at the end of the day is you really know who it is that really provides LRC because you find out they really had you at hello. Leadership, relationship, and creativity were introduced to me by Dan Sullivan of The Strategic Coach over a decade ago. Just want to give them credit for this wonderful way of approaching business. Enjoy.